complicated. I stand out as a black woman, deaf-blind, with a guide dog and a funny computer, so people see me. But at the same time, they don't see me, because they see all the stereotypes of blindness. They see the blind beggars, which are the stereotypes of blind people that we most often see in the media, and all the stereotypes about deaf people. For so much of our history, the words deaf and dumb have gone together, and a lot of people assume that we're less intelligent, which is not fair. I want society to change and get rid of those assumptions. Let's move away from the charity model and start seeing people with disabilities as talented, with valuable contributions for society.
These are just a few examples of disabled people who want to work and are doing so due to the accommodations they're able to get. So now, that poses the question, why do some employers refuse to accommodate those with disabilities? Well, to answer that, we need to look back at the origin of this discrimination, which I would say is the eugenics movement of 1883, where people would see disabled people and other minority groups that I'm not going to focus on as unfit to reproduce. Therefore, they would just treat them as if they're less than regular people. For those of you who don't know, the eugenics movement was basically a period in time where people tried to make a perfect society where only those with good genes were able to reproduce, and they would treat those seen as unfit like criminals, and they would just mistreat them all the time.
Now, you may wonder, how does this affect us now?
Well, that discrimination, it has died down, but it's still not completely gone. And we can see this in the way employers, as I said earlier, are refusing to give people the accommodations they need to be able to just work properly and function as normal human beings. Due to their disabilities, they're not able to function properly, and they need those accommodations to do so. During the interview process, I asked two students who both have ADHD about how their disabilities affect them and how getting the accommodations they need would help them improve their work quality. And here's what they said. This student preferred to remain anonymous when answering, but he basically said that his ADHD gives him a hard time staying focused in activity he actually enjoys and cares about. He also says that he thinks it's pretty stupid that employers refuse to accommodate people with ADHD or autism, because a lot of people have it even if it's undiagnosed. He believes that they should be accommodated by having some sort of fidget to help stimulate their brain and keep them focused on having a therapist on the team to help deal with it when things start getting bad. And lastly, he says companies and employers should invest in making a disability-friendly environment for their employees. This other student, her name is Amira Dos Santos, and she also has ADHD, but also has anxiety. And she says that her ADHD gives her many issues, like lack of motivation and attention, impulsivity, forgetfulness, mood swings, etc. She struggles with things like daily tasks, doing work, and having any urgency. She believes that having access to a room where a worker can go in and help them through an attack of some sort would make the environment feel a lot safer for those with ADHD. She also said that it's heartbreaking because her disability, like anyone else's, is completely out of her control, and it isn't their fault that they can't function normally. She says that employers should be more considerate because not hiring someone due to a disability can affect the person a lot. She also believes that the workplace should invest in making the environment safe for those with disabilities, saying that if people with disabilities were provided with the right tools and accommodations in the workplace, they would be able to work just fine, like anyone else. Now, let's circle back to when our anonymous student said that a lot of people go undiagnosed, and let's look at the numbers on that. According to this Google search I made that takes sources from UCLA Health, Rutgers Health, and NIH sites, it says that about 25% of children with autism go undiagnosed, especially among Black and Hispanic people, and especially among young girls. Then we also have the numbers on the percentage of adults with the different types of disabilities, where most of the adult population with disabilities stand in the mobility and mental disability spectrum. After reviewing all this information, I'm going to say that with all the hate and discrimination towards these individuals, it makes it a lot harder for them when they're constantly being judged by society. As an autistic person with ADHD who's on the higher functioning side of the spectrum, I can say that not everyone needs those accommodations, but most people do, and employers not giving them access to the resources they need just makes life harder for them in every way when they're just trying to be like everyone else, but they're not. So let's learn from this. Let's stop discriminating, let's stop judging, and let's start proposing bills to strengthen our already existing ADA protections. Let's keep in mind all disabled people. Let's keep in mind those who aren't physically disabled. And let's make this fair for all. Let's make this a fair country for all.